Good morning or afternoon, amazing agents across the country. Today is Thursday, May 17th, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 177. And I hit the cough button, excuse me. Got a little bit of a cold. I don't have anything in particular to share with you all this week. Tim, anything you want to share with the group?
Yeah, on the call last week, we kind of kicked off a trial program of a new opportunity that we're calling Premium Leads. I don't want to take up a lot of your time on this call, but several of you did sign up and have embarked upon your journey with the Premium Leads, and we've already gotten some good feedback and good results. So if you're interested in that, go to alltheleads.com/premium leads. You'll learn pretty much everything that you need to know there, and we're actually going to add some content to that today based on some of the questions that we've received from several of you, and it should tell you everything that you need to know, and we'll look forward to working with you on that program if you're interested in looking at a new program we're kicking off. Again, it's alltheleads.com/premium leads.
Excellent. Chad, what would you like to share from a coaching training perspective?
I don't really have anything on the agenda today. Just I'll jump into the queue, see who can help.
All right. Well, it's too early to start asking you about the next mastery class, right?
What's that? I'll have that soon. My travel schedule is a little firmer this month now, so.
Awesome. So we'll do that definitely one day. We've already done the May one, so there will be one every month. It's a 3-day class, and any of you haven't taken it, it'll take you to a whole nother level, if I can say it, in your understanding of how the whole probate process works and how to really, really dig in and help these people, both the administrators, the executors, and the attorneys. And we have a second person in the queue. Before I get to the first one, Tom, anything you want to share with the group?
Nothing specific. Just always remind everybody, if they need anything, just send an email to support@alltheleads.com, and we track all those items and get back to you as quickly as possible. That's it for today.
And be as specific as possible with that. There's about 15 of us now on our team, and everybody gets access to those support tickets, and if you be real specific about what you need help with, usually the best person will get right back to you. It's a lot easier than trying to navigate through what everybody does on the phone. So support@alltheleads.com and just be very specific with what you would like help with, and we will get right back to you. I think our average time is less than 10 minutes. We're usually real good at getting back to people quickly. All right, well, we have 2 in the queue. Let me just plead one more time. We got room for a lot more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. Nothing is out of bounds. Questions, comments, successes, challenges. That's what we're here for. So please participate and share with the group. In the meantime, first up is phone number ending in 8369. You're up first.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ernest and Aaron. And
hey guys,
we started a couple of months ago. We've been busy trying to sort things out in terms of getting ourselves organized, and we're back on track. So we'll be catching these meetings every week. I'm going to turn this over to Aaron because he had some questions he wanted to ask.
Hey guys.
Hey Aaron.
Hey there.
Hey. Awesome. Hey, thanks for having us on the call. We appreciate it. So before we got involved with the ATL, we were already running our own system. So and closing those deals out, we've been super busy. Anyway, no excuses. We're excited about getting started and putting our energies in the resources y'all have provided for us. In doing so, I have a couple questions. First one is, in my experience, typically it takes 5 or 6 follow-ups before we can, or touches before we can get a deal under contract or close a deal. Now with the resources you all have provided that we're really appreciative of, there's 3 months worth of mailers that go out, as far as what I've understood, and then a call after each mailer. So you know, if that's the case, I'm imagining there's a good amount of individuals who won't respond within that 3 to 4 month period. Do you all have any suggestions on systems that we can run in order to capitalize on the, I don't know, 20 to 30%, or the 50 to 80% that don't respond within those first 3 to 4 months?
To both your phone calls and your mail?
I'm sorry, what's that?
You're saying a system in addition to a phone call and mail system?
Yeah. So correct me if I'm not understanding the system y'all have provided for us, which is it's 3 months worth of mailers, correct? Which is one per month.
Well, it can be anything you want it to be. So I think I understand your question. But we, you know, because we serve such a broad set of professionals, we have to recommend a minimum, right? So we say at least send 3 letters and make 3 phone calls. But we know through marketing studies that 83% of sales happen between touch 5 and touch 12. So the more frequently you're touching a prospect, the higher your conversion rate will be, period, in any business. So if you have the bandwidth and the budget, you can take that sequence out. I mean, in an ideal world, you would want to continue marketing to every lead that is not opted out until you've spoken with the PR and you know if you can help them or not. Like, that's best practice, but that's not sustainable for most people. So it's not the core of our teaching. We focus more on at least do this much and you'll be successful.
Awesome. That's all that I need to clarify. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, and that was my concern. That was a misunderstanding on my part. So good. So we can extend it out as long as we need to.
We can, and our system is built that way. So you can. I'm not aware of the limitations in our like as far as our order form. You can order as many letters and as many phone calls as you want, and we do have people that do 12-month mailing campaigns. You can layer in postcards. You could do letter postcard, or you could do the 3 letters and then a postcard per month for the next 9 months. It'll require a little bit of testing just to see what'll work for you. But sure, your cost will come down, and our system is built. Our technology is built to save you money in each round of the sequence. So if you're using the opt-out field under the option status tab, every time you speak to someone who has already sold or doesn't want to sell, the next time your marketing cost will come down. And if you're using our system, we only charge you for as mail or calls are being fulfilled. So if you send 100 this time and 50 next time, you're only paying for 50. Where if you're managing this on your own, if you're doing a 12-touch campaign, then 12 months in, you're going to be managing 144 mail pieces, and it won't be sustainable. But using our technology, you can order a 12-touch campaign, click autopilot, and never think about it again. We'll deal with the logistics of it.
Wow.
And the beauty of that is that at the last of that program, you could be down to, in the first group that you sent out, you may be sending a card to 5 of them out of the original 150 that you started with, and the system will have managed it all along. And as we all know, it's that ability to be top of mind at the right time that gets you that opportunity that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Absolutely. Awesome. And I guess that you kind of touched on my second question a bit, but I'll ask it anyway, just for specifics. We purchased a list for the greater San Antonio land area about a month ago, and I've had guys on my team doing the calls themselves, but it's not nearly as effective as what I think actually capitalizing on y'all's entire system will be. Now, so that it's about a 4-week-old list. Would you still advise us going ahead and getting a new list and running the system anew altogether, or or jumping on the mailers and calls with the old list and then proceeding from there? I mean, what would your suggestion be in that scenario?
I would jump on the old list as soon as possible. You know, a certain percentage of people are going to respond immediately and be ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Others are going to take 3, 6, 12 months. So do your best to get the most out of both of those categories. You know, don't wait. You can upload it and have mail out in the next 24 to 48 hours. So I would go ahead and do that rather than trying to combine them, because we track our campaigns at the list level anyways. So even if you were to wait for the other list, you're still going to be tracking 2 different campaigns. But with the historical data, it's a manual. Like, you'll go in and manually set up your campaign and click go, and you know, and it'll run its course. With new data, you can go in, set up your campaign, and click autopilot, and then you never have to do it again. So next month, we'll deliver your leads into we put the leads in the CRM. They send out an order to the mail house, and if we're making your calls, the mail house sends the order to the ISAs. So in future months, you won't have to come back and do that if you're buying new data. With historical, there's still a bit of a manual order process.
Two things I wanted to add to that real quick is we've heard numerous stories of agents doing business with leads that were a year old, 18 months old. We had a gentleman maybe a few months ago, I think he took our leads for a month and quit, and then a year later he got a big deal, so he had his assistant get on the phone and call year-old leads, and he got 3 more listings. The probate listings, they season very well because there are people that just aren't ready to deal with it yet. So we always encourage you when you sign up, if you have the bandwidth and the budget, we can give you a substantial discount on older leads because we have them. It's just a little bit of work to pull them up and update them and send them off to you. So, you know, if you are really interested in working the historical and you have the bandwidth, that's great. Do it, but don't ever think that these leads are too old. Now, I mean, if you're calling 2, 3, 4-month-old leads, maybe half of them have already done something, but the ones that haven't, you've got zero competition. You know, when you call them or mail to them, they're not going to be getting mail from anybody else, so your odds of success are going to be so much better. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Man, you guys are incredible. Thank you all so much for your time, and we look forward to being on the call every week. My dad had one more thought before we sign off for the questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate the kind words.
So I was just curious about the legal portion of it, or actually the attorney. We don't have much expertise in approaching attorneys. So what provisions is there available for us to approach those attorneys or those people who have attorneys representing them?
Sure, which is most of them.
Okay.
Chad? You there, Chad?
Sorry,
I think Chad fell off the mountain.
I was talking away on mute. Couple
of great, buddy.
If you go to alltheleads.com and in the top menu on the right-hand side, look under blog. There's a series of videos we've done called Tips from the Trainer. One of those is on how to prospect probate attorneys, and I think that'll be really helpful for you. The easiest way to pull all this to the top is jump in our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind, and search for the word attorney. And you'll see a lot so we archive each of these mastermind calls as well as our role play calls in that group. And it's a little more search friendly than our call archive in the subscriber portal. And you can also see all the conversations. So use the Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind, to pull up the attorney role plays, the attorney questions and conversations, and kind of hear what we've helped others with. It's not something, I mean, there's more content in the archive calls than there is in Probate Fast Track. Now, in Probate Mastery training, we do cover that, but that's not public facing. So take a look in our Facebook group, and that should generate some ideas and give you an idea of how to crack in. excuse me, in a nutshell, the most effective way is to show up in person. And what you want to focus on is really differentiating yourself. So you need to make sure you're really clear on your offer, and that offer looks a lot different than anyone else who that attorney has dealt with in the past. And once you get that dialed in, it's really easy. So show them how your business complements theirs and serves their client, and they tend to you tend to be their favorite professional in the world because they've never really worked with anyone like that. So the same benefits that you offer to the family, you're offering a full service of, we'll help you get the house cleaned out, we can sell it for the most amount of money, we can even help you find suitable housing if that's a rental or senior living or whatever that is. The attorney needs to understand that you're focused on the people and the situation, and you get paid by dealing with the real estate, but you're willing to do everything else with your team. You don't have to do it all yourself. But that's kind of the goal, is show them how you can fill the void between what they have to do and what the PR thinks they are going to do. Because oftentimes the personal rep thinks the attorney is going to do a lot more than they actually do. And the attorneys, I've only met one attorney so far that kind of does what we teach. The attorney actually is the hub and the wheel, where they have the clean out crews, the contractors, like they have their own probate team. But that's very rare. I've only heard of it from one attorney in the country, and I'm sure there are others, but it's not very common. So show that attorney how you can be that for his business, and they'll start. Typically, they start feeding you referrals immediately.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, team.
All right. Thank you, Aaron and Ernest. We appreciate you participating. Next up is phone number ending in 9091. You're up next.
Hi. I just joined, actually, and I just finished up the certification course, and I was wondering when we're going to get our certificate, number one. And then on the other gentleman, pretty much my other question has been answered by Chad there about, what happens after you start with the mailers and that, what you suggest after you've done that. I was with the Frank Patrick course, and I mailed everything over to Joe at your office, so they're in receipt of it. And now it's my responsibility to get it going, but I have been so busy with buyers. Our market is just all buyers here where I live, and I just haven't had a chance to get my website up with you, but I'm going to be doing that this week. But basically, just when I'm going to get the certificate, number one. And then number two is, how do I go about getting an actual timeline from my state? I mean, I've looked everywhere, searched it everywhere, just a one-sheeter that shows the actual timeline, like 60 days, this is what happens, 90 days, this is what happens. Is there anything that I can get that?
Okay. We'll take them one at a time. So your CPE certificate was sent out, I believe Monday is when those went out. So you should see that maybe even today. So that is in the mail to the address that you provided whenever you signed up for the class. The second part of your question, so the timeline is drastically different depending on the amount of assets, the amount of liabilities, the backlog in the court. So I don't think you're going to find what you're looking for, where it's a rigid, this many days this happens and then this happens. The best thing you can do is pick up the phone and talk to your probate clerk. They tend to be extremely helpful if there's not a lot of information online. Just pick up the phone and say, listen, I'm a local professional. I've already assembled this team. I'm going to be I'm really passionate about helping these families. But frankly, I'm not as educated as I would like to be. Can you help me understand the process here in our market? I went and did that face-to-face when I first moved here, and it was extremely helpful for me because Kim sat down with me and handed me the paperwork she would have handed the personal representative, and she walked me through the process A to Z. So I understood it at my local level better than anyone else because I actually sat in that office and we kind of roleplayed through me being a PR. So you don't have to go that far. I mean, it's a big time commitment and you're already busy, but I've been able to accomplish about the same with our other people I've coached by just picking up the phone and doing a three-way call right to the county clerk's office and speaking to that person. And they tend to be really helpful. So give that a shot.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, I will.
I was going to add something to that. I always tell people that ask that question also that it's not too different than it is dependent on how quick and how responsive the attorney that's handling it is. Also, it's not too different than a title company. And we've all had deals where easy cash, no contingency, and it takes a title company 90 days to close it. You got another title company that'll close the most complicated one in a week or two. So there's a lot of variables, and an inefficient attorney can tie it up for a long time, and that's why if you reach out and take a lot of the stuff off his plate that shouldn't be, legal matters, more likely he's going to get it done sooner, and a good one can get it closed a lot quicker. So besides the state parameters, it's a lot is dependent on how efficient the attorney is. Just kind of factor that in when you're figuring it. So it's really it's kind of a moving number. You're never going to be able to get it. It's not an exact science, like Chad said. Make sense?
Yes, it does. And one other thing too on the mailers and that. So once those mailers are completed, I wanted to make sure I understood. So after that, they're all mailed. Do I make the phone calls like maybe once a month, and then do you have an automatic drip system? Did I hear that correctly? Or because I'm really good at follow-up, but I just needed to know what is the procedure after we send out all the mailers? What is your suggestion? Do we call them once a month after that just to keep in touch? And then put them on that another drip mailer for like maybe another year? How does that work? Or what would you suggest?
What we suggest as a minimum is the 3 letters and then follow each with a phone call. Now, frequency of the phone call between letters kind of depends on whether or not you're leaving voicemail. So if you don't leave voicemail, you might call back each week until between the letters. If you are leaving voicemail, you probably don't want to leave the same voicemail every week and become an aggravation to somebody who just isn't ready yet. So it's kind of at your discretion, but you definitely want to follow each letter needs to be followed with a phone call every time. And it sounds like you're planning on making your own calls. So you're going to get if you're using our mail system, you'll get a copy of your own letter. So you'll know exactly when everybody in your market got their copy. So that's a good prompt to go ahead and make your phone calls. When you see your letter in your mailbox, hit the phones because they've probably gotten it that same day. You might let it wait a day or two so people have a chance to get mail and open mail. But usually within the next couple of days, you want to make that call. If you don't reach them, you can decide, am I going to leave a voicemail and then just wait till next month, or am I going to be a little more tenacious and call them every week until they pick up, until I finally speak to them. And that really comes down to your prospecting style and how much time you have.
I'll probably have you guys help.
Okay.
Be glad to do it.
So,
yep.
So if we're doing it, just so you understand, so you'll see the letter in the mail, and then we will time the ISA campaign will be timed so that they work in tandem. So we'll send your mail, and then we send an order for the calls, and then based on the date we think the letter will hit, that's when your call campaign will initiate.
Great. Okay.
So you don't have to think about a lot other than checking your email and text messages. So when we set an appointment, you can respond immediately.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's awesome. And then if they don't respond, even after phone calls or after the mailers, then I can put them on an automatic drip campaign. And you guys have one of those too for us, right, in the CRM that you offer?
Do you mean an email drip?
Just some sort of a drip campaign, put them in a system just to keep in touch.
Well, so emails aren't part of public records, so we don't have an email drip system. We focus on direct mail and phone calls because that's far more effective. So you can set up your sequence to mail them as many times as you would like. And what's unique about our system is, let's say you start out with a list of 100 and you speak to 50 the first round. And on the second round, we're only going to make 50 phone calls and send 50 letters. Now, let's say you talk to 25. The next round, we're only going to send 25 letters and make 25 phone calls. So it will continue to it'll be less expensive through each round of the campaign as long as you're using the opt-out field. So if you wanted to do a 12-touch campaign, as long as you're managing the opt-outs and you're making sure, and our ISA team will do that for you. So if we speak to somebody and they say, we sold the house or my son's taking it, then we'll go in and opt them out. So assuming that's being done, you could afford to do this for 12 months and it wouldn't require any more work from you. So you set up the 12-touch sequence one time, click autopilot, and you're done for the rest of your career. As long as it's working, you don't have to come back and touch anything. We'll send the letters, we'll make the calls, and it's only to the people that haven't been opted out. So the system's designed to save you time and save you money.
That's amazing. You just made my life. I was trying to sort through in my head the process of all of this in between, and so wow, you just answered. Wow, the light bulb went on. Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and if you need help setting up your sequence, if it gets complicated and you have a bunch of touches, we're happy to walk you through it. We can help you set it up the first time and then click autopilot and you'll be done.
Wow. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you so much for participating. We have 5 more people in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 2468. That number sounds familiar. I think we've spoken to you before.
Couple times.
Yes, sir. What can we do for you?
This is Matt. Hey, just a good story, and then I got a couple questions for you. So I call up, one of these executors. He said, "Hey, look, I'm not handling anything. My attorney's handling everything. Contact my attorney, and he whatever his advice is, that's the advice I'm going with." So I call the attorney. Frankly, the first attorney call I've ever made, and he kind of gives me the Heisman, the whole call. But I get through all the subject matter, give him the same exact pitch. He says, "Send me a letter." I send him a letter, an email. He emails me back within 15 minutes, and he says, "I've been convinced. Meet me out at the house." So I'm meeting him out at the house on Saturday. Not bad. We'll see.
Great.
I think,
good job.
This one.
Yeah, so it works.
That's a perfect.
Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
I just said it's a perfect example of what we talked about earlier in this call. Most attorneys have a negative opinion of both realtors and investors because of experiences they've had in the past. But once they understand you're a different class of professional, they latch right onto you. So that's awesome, Matt.
That's exactly the feeling I got. Hey, so I got 2 questions for you. The first one is you get that person that says, "I've already got a realtor." What's a good response when they say that?
So you've signed the listing agreement, correct?
Okay. And if the
answer is yes, then your code of ethics gets you off the phone.
It's a done deal. But if the answer is no.
If the answer is no, then when do you plan to? You want to role play it? You want to role play?
No, just go ahead and just tell me what you think you'd walk them through on.
Okay. Well, my goal is to get them to meet with that realtor first, and then meet with me to sign the listing agreement. Because after they meet with that realtor, and they start talking to me, they're going to realize all the things that other person didn't know, didn't talk about, couldn't bring to the table, and I'm going to be the only damn real estate professional in the world as far as they're concerned. And I've done it multiple times. Like, this agent has been our agent for 30 years, or my niece just got her license and she needs money. And so I always encourage them to meet with that person first and set the appointment out to give them enough time. And then once they meet with me, I've got stories that I tell during mastery. Like, this one guy, he insisted. He's like, "This lady's been my agent for 38 years. There's no way in hell I'm listing with anyone else, but you can come look at the house." And the way I knew I got the listing, I won't tell the whole story, but he put his hands on his hips and he looked at his wife and shook his head and he said, "I don't know what the hell we're going to tell Doreen." he pulled the listing agreement out of the folder, and I just laughed. I was like, "Poor Doreen." But if you can be the last one in the door, you're going to blow their socks off, because your offer is going to be so much more comprehensive, and You're going to talk to them about how you can help in every way, not show them your damn iPad presentation, your signs, and tell them how great your marketing is. Anyone can do that. It's 2018. So most realtors focus in on that because that's unfortunately what they've been taught. So when they meet with you and you're focused on their overall, the big picture of helping them get through this process and bringing a team of people to help do that, there's no competition. So always try to get your competitors through the door before you, and try to be the last to get a commitment from them. Like, listen, can you just wait until Friday until we can meet before you sign a listing, before you choose who you're going to work with? And I've actually never been shut down on that. I've been able to get everyone I've ever tried.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that advice. The second question I had is, I've gotten a number of phone calls where the person is so frustrated with the amount of calls they've received and the letters, and it's just like they're just almost angry with me. And I'm kind of my best thing so far has been, I am so sorry. This has to be crazy for you, so annoying, and it's just something all I can do is apologize for and tell you what my service is. And it's just been really hard to kind of break through that frustration.
So I want to change your approach, because you have nothing to be sorry about. Like, you're offering, you're willing to work harder than anyone else, and you're offering to help somebody, and you don't get paid until you do what you promise. Is that true?
Right.
What the hell do you have to be sorry about? So you want to go, don't be sorry, be empathetic. So I understand how you feel, because I've helped a lot of people in your situation. So feel, felt, found is incredibly powerful here. I understand how you feel, validate that. Others have felt that way. And as soon as we've met, they've been relieved, because they finally understood what I was talking about and how we can actually take a lot of that pressure off. So would Friday at 3 be a good time to sit down and just have that conversation? And it's amazing how people it changes the conversation. So remember, empathy, not sorrow, and feel, felt, found are kind of the keys there.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Okay. The call is recorded. You can listen to it again if you need that word for word. But it's so true what Chad said. I've all shared the story of when I first started doing this. I told a gentleman, I'm sorry for your loss, and he said, don't be. I basically hated the guy. I said, well, after that, I never said that again. It's much more, you don't know them. You're not really sorry. It's much more sincere to say, I know it's a difficult time for the family. Acknowledge, that it's difficult, and acknowledge their loss, but it's much more sincere than apologizing for something that, you're not really sorry for.
That I
so
didn't
it's
do.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't make those other 50 calls. I just made this one.
Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Great job. We have 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number 8797. You're up next.
Hi, it's Ellen.
Hey, Ellen. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I have a question and a comment. My question is, does anybody know when the attorney gets paid?
So they get paid. So the order of payout in a state is always the government first, then the administration, which is the attorney and the administrator if they ask for compensation, and then general creditors, and then finally distribution to the heirs.
It happens at the
so they're kind of second in line.
But it happens at the end when the probate is settled, not like monthly, hourly billing?
Correct. It's in a lot of states, there's actually a capped amount, and typically the attorneys are paid when the probate closes.
So if we can say to the attorney, by helping the PR do this in a more efficient manner, they can get paid sooner.
You don't have to say it; they know it. And that's the connection you need to make when you're saying, "Here's how my service complements your business." That show them how you can take a lot of the load off the family, get the family to do things quicker, get the most amount of money out of the assets, and make their probate process shorter. And everybody wins. You get paid when you do what you said. The family gets more money in less time, and the attorney gets his money in less time. So it's a no-brainer. Like, if they will just listen to you, like Matt, that guy wasn't listening to him. He didn't give a damn what he had to say. But he did take the time to read his letter, and then he realized, oh, I better call this guy back. Once that light goes off, they want to work with you on every deal.
Okay, so I got it. And my comment is, and it kind of goes back to what that lady was saying. I turned in my information for my website yesterday afternoon, and I had a couple of special requests. I'm on the West Coast, so by the time I turned it in, you guys were closed. When I woke up this morning, my website was ready. It was amazing, and it was exactly what I wanted. It was. I was shocked at how great it was and how quickly it was done. So I wanted to thank you guys.
Yes, thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. We hear that all the time. We never get any complaints. So we, 100% satisfaction every time. I'm kidding. We do strive for that, but it's really good to hear when people are happy and satisfied. That's great to know, Ellen. You're going to do very well with this. We've spoken to you, on private conversations. You're coming with a really great attitude of, providing service first, and that's really the key, in really making this a successful niche. So thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
And we really do appreciate hearing. When our folks do kind of exceed expectations, and we strive to do that, but we definitely let them know. I mean, the team that we're building here is a really dedicated team, and it's just awesome to hear that they're, exceeding your expectations. That's great.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. We have 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 5923. You're up next.
Hey guys, as long as we're on the subject of attorneys, I wanted to ask, do you have best practice for leave behinds for them, or do you market to them on a monthly basis the way you might, as we say, drip on, on the personal representatives?
Mail has proven not to be. Usually mail ends up with the gatekeeper, and it hasn't been that effective. Leave behinds are very effective. What is really common so we have a trifold attorney brochure that if you go to Mailbox Motivator campaign setup and you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the letters on the left and the trifold samples on the right. You're not going to see everything that we can do there. That'll just give you an idea of it'll give you an idea of what can be done. Alyssa can work with you to design anything you want. But several of our customers are using a subversion of that trifold. And what's really fascinating is most of the attorneys ask for a stack of them to put at the front desk. And I think it was last week or the week before, a lady came back and told her first attorney success story. And she was proactive enough. She actually took one of those little plastic holders and had it in her purse. She was ready. And he asked her if she could leave behind stuff. So the trifold is probably the best leave behind that we've seen. I will say it should be delivered in person for the best results.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I was just thinking, do you recommend, staying in touch with these people by give them a call?
Yeah, for sure. So always find a reason to get in front of your attorney network. So a good way to do that is just make a policy, regardless of if it's a buyer or seller client. Make it a point to try to get an estate plan set up for every person in your sphere of influence. And that creates a steady flow of A+ referrals. So you can just distribute. You can even do a round robin. Let's say 6 probate attorneys. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then start the cycle over. But give them a constant stream of referrals, and they'll reciprocate. So go through your past clients. Think about, the probate costs on average 4 to 7% of the total estate value. So can you think of anyone in your family, friends, past clients, anyone who should lose 4 to 7% of their lifetime savings just because of probate? No.
Not off the top of my head.
But very few people people refuse to plan for death. Like it's less, like only a little over half of the United States even has a will. So it's something that people aren't doing. They're not taking care of things. So I'm not saying everybody needs a living trust, but even a will can help the situation. But offering free conversation with your estate planning team is a huge value to your client or your friend or your family member, and they can decide if they want to do business with them or not. But it's also a huge value to that attorney to know that a real estate agent's trying to help them, not just asking for listings.
Got it.
So that's just one example of how it gives you constant reasons to be reaching out and touching them. And then obviously every time you list a home that they're working that case, you want to call and say, hey, Bill, I just listed this for Mrs. Smith. Just wanted to make sure, is anything that I should be aware of, or is there anything that you would like to see in the private remarks on the MLS? Okay, perfect. I didn't think so, but I wanted to touch base and just say hi and let you know that, we'll make this one as smooth as possible. And just always find a reason to touch them and show them that you're being proactive, you're really engaged with their part of the process as well as the client, and you understand it. And they'll never forget you because no one else is doing that.
Okay. Can I ask you a couple of quick questions on top of that? Regarding ISAs, are those still restricted to by, I don't know what you call the way you sell leads, by market area?
So we only make calls for one person per county because we don't, otherwise it's wasting somebody's money. So as long as there's nobody in your county on autopilot, then we can still make calls for you.
Okay.
And the point being there also that we can make your mail unique, and so we definitely will mail for more than one person in a marketplace, and we make sure that each mail looks completely different from the others. So we just can't do that with a call. It's the same approach.
Sure. Understood. Chad, you'd mentioned once you use a special or one particular brand of voicemail system for leaving the ringless voicemail. What is that?
Voice casting. The parent company is Voice Logic, and the product name is Voice Casting.
Okay.
And the gentleman you want to speak to is Steve Lindo, and he's familiar with our data and can help you set up a campaign if you need help.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have 3 more in the queue. Perfect timing. We got about at least 15 minutes left. Next up is phone number ending in 1557. You're up next.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's
great, Ken.
New Jersey. How are you?
Great. Thanks for participating. We appreciate it.
No, not a problem. So this may have already been mentioned on a couple previous calls or even earlier in this call because I got to the call late. But I just have 2 specific questions in regards to, and this may be something that the support can answer, so I'll just be quick. But I know that you've talked about in the past about sending out multiple letters. I know the system's set up that way, past the initial letter. Is there a way to scrub the list of leads in the batch so that you only send letters to particular people? So, like, if I go in and I indicate in the comments that this person doesn't want to be called, is there a way that I can set it up where, maybe 23 people or 25 people, get a letter, or 30 people or 31? You know what I mean? Like, I go in, I make the calls to her, and they don't work. I want to continue to pursue the leads that I haven't heard from or are still out there. So that's my first question. There's a way to kind of specify, and target specific people who are still interested, like for future letters, like, step 2 and 3. And then the second question is, I just need a good, solid, best action plan for dealing with attorneys. Do I mail them too? Do I just call? What's the best way to follow up with them that you found that's successful?
Okay. Your first question is really simple, or the answer to that is, so when you're in the My Probate Leads, your CRM, when you'll click into the list view and then into the contact view, where you see the full information. At the bottom, the third tab to the right is the option status tab. And then a few lines down, you're going to see a button for opt out from calls, opt out letters, opt out email. Click that button, and the next time you pull your list or we pull your list, they won't be called or mailed. So the system is designed to do what you're asking.
And that button is specifically, you said it's in the CRM. Okay.
It is.
All right.
So under when you're on the contact record, like where you see all of the information for one particular case, where there's track phone call, option status. So click on option status and click opt out of, opt out mail, opt out phone calls. And then regardless of who's fulfilling your mail, the next time you go to pull a list, you'll go back to the list view, which is where you see all of the cases for the month. In the top center, there's a drop down, and it says download for calls, download for mailing, download all. And what's happening there is when you click download for calls or mailing, it's automatically excluding those that you've opted out, so they're not accidentally called or mailed, and it saves you money. The other thing, so get to the second part of your question, in that same place at the top of the list view, you click the drop down, and in the very bottom, you're going to see download attorney list or something along those lines. You can download it in an Excel, in a spreadsheet format, or you can download it in a printable PDF. Either way, we're going to dedupe the list. So we're going to say, okay, there's 500 attorneys on this list, or 500 PRs on this list, but there's but one attorney has 50 deals, and those are big numbers. But we'll have the attorney's name, so John Doe ESQ, and then in parentheses you'll see 50. We'll dedupe and summarize how many cases they're handling that month. So that's the most efficient way to pull a list of attorneys every month. So go to your list view, download a printable PDF, print it out. There's a really cool app called Route for Me. So Route the number 4 me, and I think it may be a paid app. I've had it for so long. What I would recommend is upload those addresses in your phone. Click select best route, get in the car, and just follow your phone and go from one office to the next. We find face-to-face is by far the best way to build these relationships and really impress the attorneys. So the trifold brochure is a good leave-behind piece, as we discussed with a couple questions ago. So if you have a brochure that you can take to kind of back up the conversation, I tell people try to go in the afternoon and try to go midweek. Like, you don't want to be there on a Monday or a Friday because Mondays are chaotic and Fridays are for golf. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoons is the best chance you have of getting an attorney when they're not in the courtroom. So, maybe from 1 to 3 every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you try to visit 3 attorneys. It just depends on how much time you have and how committed you want to be to it. But the best thing you can do is get the list of the attorneys in your market and then try to systematize that. So get them in your calendar and say, I'm going to visit these 3 attorneys on this Wednesday, 3 more next Wednesday, 3 more next Wednesday, and then get out there and do it. And the great part about this exercise is usually on your very first visit, you nail like an A+ attorney relationship, so it gives you the motivation to go meet the rest of them.
Okay.
That help?
Yeah, I mean, are there any pieces that you have in the system that I could use or copy off of?
Yeah, if you go to in the top of the menu and subscriber portal, look under Mailbox Motivator, Campaign Setup, scroll to the bottom, and on the right-hand side, you're going to see some trifold brochure templates. There may be some attorney ones there. They may be for the PR. There's slight differences, but with those, we tend to work one-on-one with you to customize it. We don't have an online editor that's that robust. So we'll listen to you, kind of look at what you want. You can give us some feedback, and we'll help you design your own piece.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you participating. Looks like we have 2 more people in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 2818. You're up next.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, this is Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, guys. Hey, I had a situation that happened, and just wanted to see if it's kind of normal. But had some friends that were had to go to probate court. Their mother's in a nursing home, and she owns several properties. And the probate attorney assigned by ended up with a probate attorney and everything through the court because of another sibling having issues over something, and all of a sudden decided not to have issues, but too late, it's already in the court. But the probate attorney had hired an agent to list and sell the house. And this agent, I know the house very well, but this agent put this house on the market for about $50,000 below market value, and took an offer for another $30,000 below list price. And comps in the area and demand shows much, much higher. And the fact that even if you listed at $50,000 higher, it possibly with this type of market would have generated even more money. And there's some things going on that the agent knew the person that was buying it or whatever. But anyways, they went to court and asked me to come to give my expert opinion on the value. And I don't understand why the probate attorney would want to let this house go for a lot less, and that it would need to go this. Is there any reason why you can think of that would happen? Or
what state are you in?
I'm in Colorado.
Yeah. That's why the law is so complicated in California, because this kind of
Colorado,
stuff is going on.
Denver.
I'm saying, right. I'm saying it's in California. There's processes in place that won't allow things like this to happen, and it's because they were happening. So in California, you have the court has to approve the price, and you have an overbid process. It sounds to me like the probate attorney, the agent, and the investor probably are all in the same real estate investment group, and there's some behind closed doors communication. I don't know them. There may be something about the house that neither you or I are aware of, but it sounds like an inside deal to me.
And that's what the siblings, the children, kind of suspect. And that's the one good thing is.
Let me ask you this: have they
sale got
signed the
stopped? I'm sorry.
Okay. So they did sign the contract, though.
The siblings, it was taken out of their hands. It was put into
that's
someone
right.
else
He was
with
the
the attorney.
Administrator.
Yeah, and it just. But the one thing that did happen is the sale fell apart because of this, and so the house is no longer on the market. But which, by the children want to keep it as a rental, because it's part of the income that helps support their mother. Their mother has several rentals between Colorado and California, and it generates $120,000 in income for her every year. And being in assisted living and everything like that, they, kind of need that. But anyways, I was just kind of curious about that because of the fact it just seemed really weird. They were saying that people were in cahoots. They suspected it very much and everything, didn't know how to approach it. Of course, I'm not going to get involved in that part because I have no expertise, nor do I want to have expertise in like that. But I did think of something while you guys were talking about reaching out to the attorneys, and I thought that when you're making your phone calls and everything, and say you've already hooked up with one of these attorneys that ends up being on the list, and you're talking to someone and that is the attorney, great thing to say is this: that's that attorney's part of my network, and letting them know that, and this way you don't even have to bother with trying to get it from the attorney at that time, since they already know it's a network. They'll probably just get an appointment with you. Just a quick idea off the top of my head while I was listening to the call.
Yeah, good.
Sure.
And I'm going to recap it just because your phone was kind of up and down. Was it for you, Jim? Did you have trouble hearing that?
Yeah, a little bit. I barely understood, but I did.
So,
yeah, it was tough.
Yeah. So what he's suggesting is that as you build your attorney referral network and you get to know these people, when you're speaking to the personal representatives, you can be like, oh yeah, I see John Smith as your attorney. He's actually, we consider him part of our probate team. So it just gives you more credibility even before you've spoken to the attorney or they've given you the, well, why don't you call my attorney objection? Just let them be proactive in letting them know you are well networked and you do know John Smith. So that's a good point, but I wanted to recap it because your phone was in and out while you were saying that. Thanks so much.
Yeah. And I had one question for you. Do you rent houses or do you do property management, or is that something you don't want to do?
No, most offices will not allow agents in Colorado to do property management because it's a whole different insurance policy and liability. And but I do have someone that I refer out when I come across people.
Yeah, because that was going to be my suggestion. We've talked about that very issue on these calls before. Very often, when the property is kept as a rental, for mom's income, who knows how much longer mom's going to live, or if she's going to need to go into a facility, and they may need the cash months from now. It may not be years from now. So the more helpful you can be in setting them up with the right person to rent it for the time being and putting them in your sphere of influence and keeping in touch with them, there's a good chance that's going to come back as a future listing for you if you help them now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a property manager that I refer them to. She's also a real estate agent, but the deal I have with her is I get you properties to rent. When it's time to sell, they come back to me. And
Perfect.
So, and I've known her for years. So
excellent. Great points. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate everything.
Excellent. Well, it's about 2 minutes up, and we have one more person in the queue. You can take more than 2 minutes, but I think this will be our last caller of the week, and that is phone number ending in 8103. You're up last.
Hi, I'm Laura from Florida, and I have a question. You covered it earlier, but it went too fast. About the hierarchy of the payment at the end of the process. You said the federal government's paid out first, or IRS, and could you go over that list again?
Sure.
Well, any government, so if there are estate taxes or anything else, so it's the government, then the administration, which can include the attorney and the actual administrator if they request compensation. They don't always. And then from there, general debtors, and then distribution to the heirs.
Okay. So proceeds from the sale of the house could go to pay to any of those entities?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically 80% of Americans' wealth is in real estate. So usually the home has to be sold to settle the liabilities in a lot of cases.
Okay.
And
are there any
what usually happens is the title company will usually handle this, so a lot of folks aren't even aware of it. But typically, once the real estate closes, if the court approves it, the real estate will close before the probate closes. So in order to release funds, the title company will purchase a fidelity bond on behalf of the estate. So you'll actually see on the settlement statement, here in Virginia, it's $250, and that allows us to release the funds from the sale now versus waiting 12 months. And that's pretty common practice everywhere, I think. So, you can get access to the funds as soon as it closes, as long as that fidelity bond is in place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Great. Okay.
All right. Does that help? Excellent, guys. Guys, I think this is I say this every week. I don't know if we had a record turnout. We had a ton of people in here, but I think it was one of our best calls. I can't tell you how much we appreciate all the kind comments, all the participation. And I was kidding before that, nobody has 100% satisfaction, but we really try to make sure that y'all are successful with this. And it's very gratifying when you call in and give us great reports like you shared today. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being on the call today. And I always like to end these calls the same way, by first thanking you for being here. You took an hour out of your day. I want to challenge each and every one of you. Take one idea, one thought, one thing you heard that inspired you on this call, and go out and try it, put it into practice, and come back next Thursday and share the results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. We will talk to you same time next Thursday. Make it a great week. Take care.